You know that feeling? Traditional retirement just seems so far away, right? No matter how hard you seem to work.
Always just over the horizon.
Exactly. But what if there was another way, a path to maybe break free a lot sooner?
Hmm.
We're talking about FIRE financial independence, retire early. It's this concept that's really blown up, sparked a whole movement.
It really has.
True.
And it asks a pretty fundamental question, doesn't it? Do we have to stick to that work to your 60s script?
Right. Does that conventional timeline hold?
Fire basically says,
Mm-hmm.
maybe not.
Okay, so that's the big picture. Today on the deep dive, we want to get past the hype, the Instagram posts,
Yeah, the flashy stuff.
and really understand what FIRE is actually about. A look at the core ideas, the real pros, but also the challenges people don't always talk
The
about.
stuff that gets glossed over.
Yeah, and how it might actually work or not work for you. Our whole mission here is to kind of cut through all that noise.
Give you the essentials.
Exactly. So you can figure out, is this FIRE thing a real possibility, or is it more of a pipe dream?
Precisely. We want to offer a clear, balanced view on this whole approach to life and money.
Okay, let's get down to it then. What is FIRE, fundamentally? We hear the name all the time, but what's actually going on under the hood?
Well, it's not just about being super thrifty and quitting your job at 35, though that's kind of the image sometimes.
Right.
At its core, FIRE is really a strategy. It's built on saving really aggressively, often a very high percentage of your income,
Okay.
and then investing that money strategically. The big goal is to build up enough assets
Uh-huh.
so that the returns from those investments, the growth, the dividends, they can actually cover your living expenses forever.
Indefinitely. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Once you hit that point, that threshold, then the option to leave traditional work opens up potentially much, much earlier than 65.
So you're building this personal financial engine that runs itself.
That's a good way to put it.
Now, I know it's not just one size fits all, right? There seem to be different flavors of FIRE emerging.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The sources we looked at highlight a few main variations. First, you've got what they call LeanFIRE.
LeanFIRE. Okay.
This is all about hitting that financial independence number with a relatively smaller pot of money.
Smaller. How does that work?
Well, it means you plan to live a very frugal lifestyle after you stop working full-time. Think basics, essential expenses, not a lot of extras.
So minimalism continues even after you've retired.
Exactly. You're committed to keeping that budget really tight.
Interesting. Okay, what's next?
Then you've got the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
FatFIRE.
FatFIRE. Sounds more comfortable.
It is. The goal here is to save up a much larger nest egg, significantly larger.
Okay.
This allows for a much more comfortable, maybe even luxurious early retirement. Spending might be similar to or even higher than before you left your job.
So early retirement, but with plenty of cushion, maybe travel, nice things.
That's the idea behind FatFIRE, yeah.
Yeah.
More financial breathing room.
Makes sense. And there was a third one.
Right, BaristaFIRE. This one's kind of a hybrid.
Okay.
With BaristaFIRE, you save enough so your investments cover a good chunk of your costs, maybe all your essential bills, but you don't fully stop working. You might take a part-time job, maybe something less stressful like working at a coffee shop, hence the name.
Ah, okay. So why do that?
Could be for extra spending money, maybe to get access to health insurance benefits, or honestly, just for the social side of it, a bit of routine.
So it's like partial financial independence. Work becomes more optional or at least less demanding.
Exactly. It offers flexibility.
Okay, that clarifies the different paths people might take. Lean, fat, barista.
Yeah.
Interesting. So let's talk about the why. What's the big draw? Why are people so attracted to this idea, which can seem pretty radical?
I think a huge piece of it is autonomy. Control over your own time.
Freedom, basically.
Imagine waking up and you decide how your day goes. Not your boss, not your job's demands. You could pursue passions, travel more, spend quality time with family, learn new things, or just slow down. That choice is powerful.
That really resonates. Reclaiming your time, probably our most valuable asset, right?
Absolutely.
What else? What other big benefits pull people towards FIRE?
Another major one is cutting down on financial stress. Massively.
How so?
Well, if you've built up this substantial financial buffer, this nest egg, you feel much more secure. You're less worried about things like losing your job or an economic downturn or unexpected bills popping up.
It's like having your own personal safety net.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That peace of mind can be incredibly valuable. It changes how you feel day to day.
I can see that. And it feels like maybe the journey itself, the process of actually saving and investing so intentionally might have benefits too.
Definitely. The path towards FIRE almost forces you to live more intentionally.
How do you mean?
You have to figure out what's truly important to you. What do you actually value spending money on? And what's just noise or stuff you buy out of habit.
Right, you have to make conscious choices.
You do. You cut out the unnecessary to focus on the goal. And this process, aligning your spending with your actual values, can actually lead to feeling more satisfied with life, even before you hit that FIRE number.
So it's not just about the destination, the early retirement part. The getting there changes you too.
It often does. You become much more aware of where your life, energy, your time and money is actually going.
That's a really interesting angle. But
Well,
okay, let's be real. This can't all be smooth sailing and philosophical discovery, right?
no, absolutely not.
We hinted at challenges. What are the big hurdles, the things that maybe get downplayed sometimes?
Well, the sheer level of commitment involved is immense.
You mean the saving part?
Yeah,
Yeah.
saving 50, 60, even 70% of your income, potentially for years, maybe a decade or more.
Yeah.
That requires extreme discipline.
Wow, 70%.
It often means making significant sacrifices in your current lifestyle.
Like what?
Think about saying no to things, maybe travel opportunities, dinners out with friends, hobbies that cost money, upgrading your car or home. You're constantly choosing future freedom over present spending.
That sounds tough. That could create some tension, couldn't it? Socially, mentally.
It absolutely can. There's a real balancing act required. It can affect relationships, your social life, even your mental well-being if you push too hard or feel deprived.
That sustained austerity.
Yeah, that sounds incredibly demanding. And beyond just the lifestyle sacrifices, what about practical risks, real-world stuff?
Healthcare is a huge one, especially in places like the U.S. without universal healthcare.
Right, losing your employer's plan.
Exactly. Suddenly, you're potentially facing very high, very unpredictable insurance premiums and out-of-pocket costs. That can blow a huge hole in a carefully planned budget.
Okay, that's a major vulnerability. What else?
Then there's inflation, the silent killer of savings, right? Over a potentially very long early retirement, maybe 30, 40, 50 years, even modest inflation can seriously erode the purchasing power of your nest egg. So the number you thought was enough might not be enough later on.
Precisely. And then just life happens. Unexpected major costs, home repairs, family emergencies, maybe needing long-term care eventually. These things can derail even well-laid plans.
So significant financial risks to manage. And it's not just about money, is it? I think our sources mentioned something more personal, almost existential.
Yes, definitely. It's this question of purpose and identity after you leave work.
What happens when the job is gone?
Well, retirement early or otherwise doesn't automatically mean constant happiness or fulfillment. Some people really struggle.
How so?
They might miss the structure of work, the social connections, the sense of contributing or achieving something tangible. Their identity might have been closely tied to their career.
So you can end up feeling adrift, bored.
It happens. Finding new sources of meaning, purpose, and social connection takes effort. It's not guaranteed just because you stopped working.
That's a really crucial point. Retiring from a job isn't the same as retiring to a fulfilling life.
Exactly. You need something to move towards.
Okay, so given all these potential pitfalls, the discipline, the risks, the purpose question, how can someone approach FIRE in a more grounded way, a more sustainable path maybe?
Yeah, well, one key piece of advice is start small. Don't feel like you have to jump straight to saving 70% overnight. Maybe begin just by tracking your expenses really carefully. See where the money's actually going. Then aim for a more manageable initial savings rate, maybe 20%, maybe 30%.
Build the muscle first.
Exactly. Build the habit, get insights, make gradual adjustments rather than trying something drastic that you might burn out on.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
More realistic. And the investing side, where should people put the money they do save?
Prudent investing is obviously critical.
Yeah.
The consistent advice is to focus on low-cost, diversified investments.
Like index funds.
Index funds are often recommended, yeah. They track broad market segments and typically have very low fees. And definitely take advantage of any tax-advantaged accounts you have access to, like 401k or IRAs in the U.S. or similar vehicles elsewhere. The tax breaks can significantly boost your returns over the long run, reduces the drag on your growth. And just understanding basic diversification, not putting all your eggs in one basket, is key.
So, keep costs low, spread the risk, use tax advantages. Solid advice. Now, what about speeding things up? We often hear about side hustles.
Absolutely. Increasing your income is the other side of the savings coin, right?
Yeah.
So exploring side hustles, maybe developing passive income streams like from rental properties or online content or creating digital products, these can all dramatically accelerate your savings rate.
And shorten the timeline to FOA.
Exactly. Plus, it adds another layer of financial resilience if you have multiple income sources.
Diversifying income, not just investments.
Right.
Smart. And life throws curveballs, right? So how important is flexibility in a FIRE plan?
Oh, it's absolutely vital. Your initial plan. Think of it as a roadmap, not rails you're locked onto.
Okay.
Life changes. Your income might change. Your expenses might go up unexpectedly. Maybe you have kids. Maybe opportunities shift. You have to be prepared to adapt.
So checking in regularly.
Yeah, reviewing your numbers maybe once a year, seeing if your assumptions still hold,
Yeah.
and being willing to adjust the plan is crucial for long-term success. It's not set it and forget it.
Right. Needs ongoing attention. And circling back to that purpose thing, it sounds like you need to plan for that too, not just the money.
Very much so. The sources really stress finding your why beyond just, I hate my job.
What drives you besides escaping work?
Exactly. What will you actually do with all that time? What activities, relationships, projects, or contributions will give your life meaning and structure?
Mm-hmm.
It's really recommended to start building those things into your life before you pull the trigger on retiring early. Have something you're retiring to.
Retire to, not just from. I like that.
It makes the transition much smoother, much more fulfilling.
So when you boil it all down, the core message here isn't just about reaching a magic number in a brokerage account, is it?
Not at all. It's really a much bigger lifestyle choice. It's about embracing principles like financial freedom, yes, but also flexibility, resilience, and intentionality.
It's about gaining control.
Ultimately, yes.
Yeah.
It's about empowering yourself to make choices that truly align with your personal values.
Which really brings us back to where we started. Is FIRE actually worth pursuing? After digging into it, it seems. It's complicated.
It really is.
Yeah.
There's no single yes or no answer. It depends so much on the individual,
Depends a lot.
on your willingness to make those significant sacrifices, your tolerance for risk, your ability to stay disciplined over the long haul, how adaptable you are, and maybe most importantly, how you personally define what a successful, fulfilling, financially independent life actually looks like for you.
Right. It's deeply personal. So maybe the final thought for you, the listener, isn't just about the numbers.
Yeah.
Maybe it's this. Think about what you would actually retire to. Forget just escaping the grind for a second. If time and money weren't the main constraints, what meaningful things would you fill your days with?
And that's a powerful question.
That seems to be the real question at the heart of FIRE, or really any journey towards having more control over your life and finances. What do you actually want to do with that freedom?